After watching this video, you'll be able to claim being a certified nut expert, and I guarantee you'll never have an issue finding a job ever again. My name's Shay, I'm a nutritionist and an international level athlete, and yeah, weird topic today, weird topic for a tier list. It's all about nuts, and I think these really go under the radar. There's some interesting points here. There's some of these I've used in the past for, say, bulking, and some of them I use now just for overall health. Some of these really go under the radar. You know why you're here. Let's get into it. So almonds are actually very, very high in polyphenols, which are a type of antioxidant, and antioxidants manage inflammation, which I love on this channel. Inflammation is like one of the main things I target just for cognition and overall health and recovery, all of the above. So it's got a lot of flavonoids. It's got vitamin E, which is another antioxidant. It's got some good mineral content like manganese, magnesium and iron, but you probably won't absorb too much of these because they also have like phytic acid and oxalates, which can reduce the absorption a bit, but as far as inflammation goes, they are pretty good. Additionally, it's pretty cheap, and out of all these nuts here, it's actually got the second highest level of protein per, whatever grams. So overall, it is pretty good. My one issue here, I guess, is the fact that it's all omega-6, and we want more omega-3, because basically omega-6 we still need, but it can be pro-inflammatory. Omega-3 counters this, and if we have too much omega-6, it can kind of outcompete for the enzyme that omega-3 needs as well, and kind of cause a bit more inflammation. So I always target omega-3, but overall, honestly, really good. I think if you're getting your omega-3 elsewhere, almonds should always have a place in your diet. I've used them a bit for bulking because nuts in general, mostly fat, which are 9 calories per gram compared to like carbs and fat, which are 4, so pretty calorie dense overall. Yeah, helpful for bulking. Pistachios, I find these, they're tasty, but they're so frustrating, which I think just overshadows the taste completely. This B6 and copper is the standouts, which like who's like copper deficient? I have yet to meet someone who's copper deficient. They are very expensive too. Protein content's okay, but how many times do you sit down with like a big bowl of pistachios? You're probably just wasting your time trying to like crack. I don't even want to think about it. I'm putting that in D tier, but believe it or not, these aren't the worst thing on the list here. You might be surprised on that one. So on to walnuts. Now these have a decent micronutrient spread as far as minerals go. Most of these nuts do, but that's not why we're here. It is stacked with polyphenols, and one of the main things here is the omega-3 content. I think out of anything here, it's got the highest, and as I said before, managing your omega-3s and your inflammation just makes things a lot better. I have these every day now with my lunch. If you've seen my healthiest bowl possible meal, honestly, if anyone's followed that, I feel like so sharp after eating that, it's ridiculous. But yeah, walnuts, very good. Not that expensive either, not as cheap as almonds, but as far as like the non-like cashew almond or peanuts, like those cheaper nuts, not too bad. Next up is cashews, and these are kind of mid. Yeah, there's magnesium, there's iron, there's manganese, but as I said before, some of the things that reduce absorption, like the phytic acid, you're probably not getting too much of these, so why not just pick one of these other nuts anyway that have things like antioxidants, so not fantastic. They're a bit cheaper, so I won't put them straight into D tier, but next up is pecans, and these are actually quite interesting. They're kind of like a double-edged sword. Yes, the micronutrient spread as far as the minerals go is pretty standard. As far as nuts goes, it's like, decent. But the two big points here, okay, it's got a lot, so much omega-6, it's kind of ridiculous, which is problematic for inflammation if you're not getting enough omega-3, which is a little bit harder to get in a usual diet. But why I say double-edged sword, it is stacked with polyphenols and other types of antioxidants. Is actually the #1 nut as far as this goes, so it's hard for me to put it in S tier just because of the omega-6 content being through the roof. But as far as managing inflammation, it kind of counters this out with some of the polyphenols. It's got gallic acid, E-gallic acid, catechin, epicatechin. It's ridiculous. So although you're losing some and getting some inflammation with all the omega-6, if you eat some omega-3 with it, you're just gonna get all the benefits from all those flavonoids. So I'll put it in A tier. You might want to stack it with some omega-3 to get, positive health out of it. So I can't put it straight into S tier, but interesting. Next up is hazelnuts. I have never eaten like a regular hazelnut, to be honest. I think we've all had Nutella at some point, but the manganese, I think iron is in there as well. Like most of these nuts, but the thing that stands out is the vitamin E, which is actually pretty good. So aside of like other anti-inflammatories like flavonoids, I think omega-3 and selenium and vitamin E are really potent as far as managing inflammation. So if you can get some of these in, and in this case you're getting a lot of vitamin E here, which is fat soluble, so fat can actually improve absorption even further with vitamin E, which you're getting from these nuts because they are fat based. So overall, honestly, I'm going to put these in A tier just because I don't really see a big drawback here. You know, pecans may be more potent for managing inflammation, but all those omega-6 is holding it back, so I'll put those pretty high. If you are enjoying, please consider dropping a like and subscribing. It's free, helps me out, and I'd love to have you on board. Next up is Brazil nuts, and this is actually another interesting one. As I said before, selenium is one of those things that I'd like to target as far as countering inflammation, which you can get in a couple of these nuts. You don't want to eat more than 5 of these a day just because you might get selenium toxicity. It's just that potent as far as selenium goes, which kind of makes all the other micronutrients irrelevant just because you're not going to be eating that many of these, so they're just going to be in such small amounts. But like if you want to throw in like a little bit of Brazil nuts here and there throughout the week, you'll see selenium's not going to be an issue. But it's hard for me to put them higher than B just because you can't eat that many of them. It's not like a base food you can have in your diet. But if you sprinkle them in there, very good. I like them. They're probably my favorite tasting out of everything here. So next up is macadamias, and I hate to burst the bubble. They do taste good, but they're so expensive and they're trash, dude. Like, not that they're bad for you, they're just not really adding much. Like, again, copper and B1 I think it is, and manganese. Like, we don't really have an issue if your diet, unless your diet's trash, you're probably getting these no issue in other foods. And yeah, so expensive. And it's actually the second lowest protein content on this whole list, just to rub it in, so yeah, no good. So peanuts. Peanuts are actually the cheapest thing here by a landslide, and you might be thinking, well, if it's so cheap, surely it's just trash, right? No. As I said before, vitamin E is helpful for managing inflammation, which it has. Coenzyme Q10, which you might not have heard before, it helps for energy metabolism and can also improve managing inflammation, which is also helpful. As I said before, it's also really cheap, and out of everything here, it also has the highest protein. It's like, how have we missed this? Why is no one talking about how good peanuts are? I don't know. I don't like love the taste of them. I love peanut butter as like a bulking food, and peanuts aren't too bad either. I would just say don't go absolutely insane crazy with these. Like, don't make it like an entire meal. They do have this thing called aflatoxin, which if you have peanuts, you're probably gonna be fine, but in really, really high amounts of peanuts, I might be a little bit more worried. So, you know, don't be doing the peanut only bulking challenge. That's an interesting video idea, but I'm not going to poison myself. And lastly, and almost leastly, we have chestnuts. These smell really nice, but they suck. Like, these are the lowest in protein. They don't have many minerals, and they're actually mostly carb-based, which is interesting, but yeah, throw it down there. Anyway, this is the list. I think to like sum it up, I definitely think something like peanuts or almonds is great for bulking. As far as managing inflammation, probably S or A tier. My personal favorite in this whole thing is walnuts, just because there's not really a downside. And I think in the modern day, omega-6s are just so easy to get, which means omega-3s is really, really important, because omega-6s are in seed oils, which are in everything, unfortunately. So most people are eating like a 20-to-1 ratio of 6-to-3. We want to reel that back into, like, you know, 1-to-5 or even closer to like 1-to-1, some would say, but that's pretty unreasonable. It's so hard to get. But anyway, you are now a certified nut expert like myself. So let me know what you thought about this video. If you enjoyed it, here's some more videos you might like, but I'll see you next time.